Committee, please switch on your video. Well, the topic is the environment of automated training with the properties of adaptation based on the cognitive models. According to Acts of St. Petersburg University, dated on the 20th July 2020, with amendments on the 28th of July 2020, I, Oleg Nikolaevich Malafeev, was appointed chairman of this council. Members of the Dissertation Council. Online with us, Vetrov Anatoly Duke, Professor, Venir Gennadievich Makarov, Professor, Vanya Rafaelovich Barsigyan, Professor, Raguskis Midvizeskazis, Professor. Also, the candidate is President as well, Vetrov Anatoly Nikolaevich, the academic advisor of the dissertation, author Alexander Nikolaevich Kvetko, Professor, is present as well. To improve the quality of the communication, please, members of the Dissertation Council that are online with us, switch off your microphones, and when you're given the floor, then switch them on. Well, audio and video recording is being carried on the website and broadcast live, and also with interpretation between Russian and English. But also there's a website, there's an email address on the website where you can send your questions related to the presentation, to the dissertation, and so on. And if they're related to the content of the dissertation, if they're assigned and affiliation of the author is also fixed, then I will read these questions. Questions failing to meet these requirements will not be read. In accordance with the procedure of St. Petersburg University to award candidate of sciences degrees and doctor of sciences degrees, the session of the dissertation committee is deemed legitimate if not more than 2/3 of the established membership of the dissertation committee is present, but not fewer than 4 people. Our dissertation council consists of 5 people. All 4 are present, including 4 in online mode. Well, the agenda, first of all, the procedure will follow the following order. The first one is chairman will give a short overview of the paperwork that's received. Then a short presentation of the candidate, 15 minutes. Questions to the candidate on the presentation, not more than 2 minutes per question. Answers of the candidate, not more than 5 minutes per all questions. Then all members of the dissertation committee will have the opportunity to read out their reviews of the dissertation, 10 minutes per review. Then the chairman will do the same, 10 minutes. Then the candidate will have time for 20 minutes to address the critical remarks at dissertation questions. Would you like to address all of them together or after that? We'll open floor discussion. Well, then, but the comments should relate directly to the presentation, and all those who would like to speak up this time, please register in the log and introduce yourself. Then the chairman will read out questions that have been sent to the website, and then answers of the candidate, not more than 2 minutes per question. Then the academic advisor will have 3 minutes to share their comments. Then open roll call. Well, deliberation period 5 minutes. If if needed, closed, and then open call roll voting. Then decision is taken, and a concluding statement of the. Any problems with any objections to the procedure? No objections. First of all, please turn off the sound of your mobile telephones, and then we're now going to continue. Well, the short overview of the paperwork that has been received from the candidate, the dissertation of Anatoly, Nikolaevich, Vetrov, the environment of automated learning with the properties of adaptation based on the cognitive models was accepted for defense on the 20th of July 2020. Vetrov Anatoly Nikolaevich wrote his dissertation research in St. Petersburg University under the supervision of Doctor of Physical Mathematical Sciences Alexander Nikolaevich Kvitko, professor. All those who are online, can you all hear and see us? Professor Raguskis, can you see us? Yes. Professor Brasigan, can you see and hear you? Avinir Gennadьевич Makarov, I can hear and see you. Vyacheslav Anatolovich Dyuk, I can see and hear you. Great. Yeah, we continue our session. Then with short as I said, the supervision was done by Alexander Nikolaevich. The number of publications by the candidate, 14 journal articles, 11 publications from the list approved by the Ministry of Education and Science, St. Petersburg, Russian Federation. No Web of Science or Scopus publications. A full package of documents has been submitted. All documents conform fully to the procedure of St. Petersburg University. Well, the whole package are in the file and with copies in the personal file of the candidate, and they're available now from the Office of Dissertation committee work. Well, do any of you have general questions? Whether you want to learn the exact list of publications and the documents? No. Then short presentation. No questions? No questions? No? No? Everybody says no. Then 15 minutes for the presentation of the candidate. The environment of automated training with the properties of adaptation based on the cognitive models in the degree field of 513 alone, the system analysis control and information process technical sets. The first one, 111, the existing contradiction, the aspects of informatization and the relevance of research. The existing contradictions and the priority aspects of information. The technologies being the basis of the existing means of training and training methodological complexes practically do not take into account the features of information processing by the trainee and the subject as the subject of training. The improvement of organization and technology of the process of automated training causes the need of the analysis of the efficiency of functioning of the information-educated environment will take into account the individual features of the subjects of training, physiological, psychological, linguistics, linguistica, etc. The relevance of the theme of the dissertation research is explained by the evolution of priorities from outside of the state and international bodies regulating the policy of development of the system of education and the informatization of educational sphere and the imperfection of the scientific, methodological, and technological aspects for the support of the analysis of assessment of efficiency of information exchange between the subjects and means of training. The need of creation of the universal scientific approach to the assessment of quality of training. The purpose, the object, the subject, and the methods of research, you can see on this slide. The purpose of the research is the increase in the efficiency of functioning of the information educational environment, of the automated training system due to realization of the individually oriented formation of knowledge in the trainee with the use of the adaptive generation of educational influences based on the parametrical cognitive models block. The object of research is the information educational environment of the automated training system educational establishment. The subject of research, the automated training system with the properties of adaptation based on the parametrical cognitive models. The methods of research, theoretical, experimental, theory of systems. Theoretical is the theory of systems, system analysis and modeling. Theory of control, structuring, representation of knowledge, experimental, the applied methods of theory of information, the physiology of sensory systems. The next slide shows the tasks of research, of the dissertation research. The achievement of the purpose of research realizes the complex of research tasks, the analysis of theoretical basis of construction, the automatic IEE of the adaptive training with the model of the subject of training at the base of the theory of automated control. The development of the structure of IEE of the automatic training system with the properties of adaptation based on the parametrical cognitive models. The synthesis of the parametrical cognitive models as the information basis of the system analysis, the formation of CM of the subject of training and the CM of the means of training on the basis of IEE and of RT. The realization of the complex of problems, including the electronic textbook. The next slide is I122, scientific results of the dissertation research submitted for defense. The main scientific results submitted for defense, structure of the information education environment and the principles or algorithms of functioning of the components of automated training system with the properties of adaptation based on the parametrical CM block. Then this will be slides 1.1, 1.8.3. The second one is the cognitive modeling technology, including the techniques of its use, and recommended innovative basis of the algorithm of formation of the structure of cognitive model, of the Kotlin model. And these are slides 2.1.1 to 2.7.2. The structures of the cognitive models of the subject of training and the means of training. Slides 3.1 to 3.8. The complex of programs, including the adaptive electronic textbook, and the slides 4.1.1 to 4.21. The statistical justification of practical use of the received results by means of preliminary processing of posteriori data and the secondary processing of selections of posteriori data, some results of the regression analysis and discriminant analysis, multidimensional scaling, and the factor analysis. Slides 5.1 to 5.6.2. The next slide talks about the reliability of the scientific results of the dissertation, research, and the publications. The reliability of the research is concerned by the system approach to the description of the selected difficult object. The selected object of research, the correct use of fundamental provisions of the theory of information, physiology of sensory systems, cognitive psychology, applied linguistics, and ergonomics. The approbation of elements of dissertation at the seminars and conferences of IHES and Russian Academy of Sciences, the introduction of results in the learning process of LETI University and IBI, the reasonable application of experimental methods, and the strict logic of carrying out of the experiment. The basic results were published in 52 publications the total number of works that were published by 2020 is 265. One textbook and 3 methodological instructions to the laboratory works in computer science. One textbook. 49. There have been several co-authors. The supervised postgraduates. 14 academic. 14 works that were published in journals. Approved by the Ministry of Education and Science. All scientific results are deposited in the electronic library of the Russian Federation, and for copyright certificates about the deposition and registration of the works, the objects of intellectual property in the Russian Federation Academy of Sciences in 2005 to 2007, the norm for the candidate Doctor of Technical Science was completed, reached, and was and so the scientific. The next slide talks about the scientific aspects of informatization and the information education environment and the theoretical methodological base of research, the main approaches of the construction of the traditional and automated information educational environments, IEE. First of all, the organization, technical and methodology bases, Yershov, Ivannikov, Sovetov, Tikhnov, and others. The introduction and the use of ICT in the educational sphere, Dombrychov, Davgailo, Kinev, etc. The development of education against the background of the crisis and national factors, Kashitsyn, Semenov. Then the next, you can say that for the solution of the problem, the creation, i.e., the wide range of scientific aspects is considered: social, economic, regional, organization, pedagogical, next, etc. Next slide. The scientific aspects of the informatization of it, information education environment, and the theoretical methodological base of research. The approach is providing the creation of IE of individual-oriented and adaptive training, physiological and physiological and psychophysiology of perception, and the models of organization of interaction of the subjects and means of training for the solution of a problem of adaptation. For solution of the problem of adaptation in EEE, of the automated training offered by Skinner. The means of IE provide a visual and sound representation to the subject of training, strictly contains sequence of information to educational influences. The linear model with feedback, Pressey, SL, Ohio, USA. At the right action of the subject of training, it is similar to the linear model, and in the case of incorrect, it is in initiating the transition to the previous step of educational trajectory. The branched model, Crowder, Illinois, USA. The action answer of the subject of training initiates the transition to a certain branch of education trajectory. The branched multi-level model provides the representation of information education. The hybrid model, an advanced set or any switching between the listed models of generating information educational influences of the certain means of training is provided. The adaptive model past Cambridge. The technologies of the organization of interaction of subjects of means training for solution of the problem of adaptation in the information educational exams. The classical technologies of the organization art is not oriented on the individualization of training and do not meet the modern requirements of IE of a new generation, the class lesson technology, the design group technology, and the technology of the correspondence training. The individual, this is slide 1.4.2. So, as I said, the classical technologies do not meet the modern requirements of IE. The individual orientation of information interaction between the subjects and the means of training in IE is reached due to the use of a set of technologies. The technology of the individual training is point to point. Realize the topological scheme of information interaction, the subject, the means of a training, the teacher. The technology of the individualized training allows to take into account the individual features of the personality of the subjects of training during the educational process, realized in the tradition of or IE or of art. The technology of the adaptive training allows to realize the contour of adaptation in IE of art based on the parametrical cognitive models block of the subject and the means of training offered in this work. The complex, this next slide, the complex approach to the synthesis of the information educational environment of the automated training with the properties of adaptation based on the parametrical cognitive models from the solution of complex tasks of the thin synthesis of the information educational environment. The entering of it includes the entry of one modification to the structure, organization, and technology of training, the additional actions in the organization and technology of RT, the modification of the electronic textbook, the modified principal algorithm of functioning of the electronic textbook for the realization of adaptation, implementation of adaptation. Второе, the entry of new components into the automated training system. The third, scientific results. Then the next, the cognitive modeling technology. Is the second scientific result, the complex of programs for the automation of research tasks. The fourth scientific result, the synthesis of the automated training system with the properties of adaptation based on the parametrical cognitive models demands the elaboration of complex approach, the modification of the structure of the principles or algorithms of functioning of components, the automated training system for the realization of the adaptation based on the cognitive models. The cognitive modeling technology is universal and real in relation to the object. The technique of the use of CMT and the algorithm formation of the structure of CM are developed for the reformalization of the sequence of the use of the cognitive modeling technology with the purpose of construction and the structure of the constructing of the structure of the cognitive model. To conclude my research, for the last slide will be the genesis of the cognitive computer science and cognitive modeling technology for the system of and financial analysis as new academic scientific direction according to the decision of the President of the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences, Protocol 699 from the 8th of June 2018. I'm the founder of a new academic field. Well, this is the system, includes the system approach, the social economic approach. This is the management in social systems. The information approach, the financial economic approach, the financial analytical approach, the analytical approach. This is the cybernetics approach. Kolesov reviewed some of her works, and in addition to, I prepared a Doctor of Technical Sciences dissertation, and the Doctor Beloglazova, the economic. Professor Belousov unfortunately passed away, and so I haven't submitted my dissertation yet. So I think that the dissertation was quite encompassed a great material. And do you have any questions strictly on the presentation? Do you have any questions strictly on the presentation and on the dissertation content? I have a question. Vyacheslav Anatoly, please. Could you show at least one parametrical cognitive model? Just a second. Well, I will have to stop the multimedia presentation and show you my model. The cognitive model is a repertoire of parameters with related to the personality traits. They have the priorities, the vectors of parameters, and the elemental parameters. This has to do with two cognitive models. You can see on this line, D31. It's the cognitive model of a subject that characterizes the physiological portrait of the subject and understanding, and the linguistic portrait, and that's are generated by different means of training. The parametric D32 slide D32 is based on this parametrical model is based on different parameters. They have to do with the style of educational influences, in the process of personally tailored. Are you satisfied? I would like to see some. Well, this model is part of the electronic textbook. Well, I can show it to you in person. No, I don't want to meet with you. So that the results of experimental verification of the results. Well, I have to switch to slide. To experimentally verify the efficiency of the model, we have a scheme with a certain order of actions. Well, you can see it on the slide. You can use. First of all, you have to develop some parameters included into the model, and we have to study the parameters of the cognitive model of the subject of learning, and you have to apply the adaptive electronic textbook. You have to analyze the parameters of the residual knowledge of the subjects of learning and analyze them, and process do a secondary processing of the. Well, I'm not happy with the answer. These are general statements. The result of secondary process. Well, I think. Yeah, 2 questions and 2 answers. My question is this. How do you verify the effectiveness of cognitive modeling? And how can you justify the representatives of the sampling? I taught in 6 groups of full-time students and other groups and lectures and practical lab work in the part-time students. And so I conducted the experiment, and the main criteria of the criteria is the average score of academic attainment of students. So you can see that 3 groups that the students studied the informatics with the use of the electronic textbook. And then there's another set of classes in some groups. Some classes were conducted by my colleague Savosin with using my techniques, and then in some groups again the electronic textbook was used. Well, you can see this data over the years. In some years, data is missing because there were no students for that year. There was no intake. You see slide D. These are relative and absolute values for the quality control. of teaching. The 14% in 3 full-time student groups, 14% increase in the quality of education. You see here the difference between the groups. There's also increase in the quality of learning. You see 30% increase. So what is the representatives of the sampling? Well, of course, by the admissions committee of the university, they took in students with the same level. This period is between 2004 to 2010. How many groups were there? 3 groups that used the electronic textbook. 2 groups again. Some groups where the electronic textbook was not used, and the full-time. So, Vetrov Anatoly, I'm not happy with it. With the answer, I'm not satisfied. Maybe you'll develop your question. This is very outdated research. Well, what do you understand by the cognitive model? What parameters were used there and taken account of? Well, I don't know. I think it's just outdated data. I know of cognitive research for distance learning systems that are more recent. The author relies on very outdated material. I beg to disagree. Well, he said that I have patents in 2007 for the candidate and Doctor of Science. I participated in international affairs and the Paris Book Salon, for example, in Moscow International Salon of Education 2017, in New York Book Expo America in 2019, in the Russian Exposition Center and the book fair there in 2018, the International Book Fair in Barcelona, Spain, in Hong Kong Books Expo Fair in 2019, in Austria, Vienna, UHBM 20, participating in these expos. The Russian Academy of Natural Sciences confirmed that my methodology and therefore selected my work and sent me to those expos. I have the documents that participated in these expos. Vetrov Anatoly, are you satisfied? Well, I'm not persuaded. Well, in Leti, you participated you did experiments in Leti University. Well, why didn't you defend your dissertation in Leti? Well, I would leave it outside this dissertation council meeting because they do not relate to the work. So they can, such issues cannot be considered. So, would you? Is this relevant? What would you say? Well, I understood. I am satisfied. Thank you very much, then. Do you have any questions? I have a question. The first question is, why didn't you publish in Scopus journals? Well, you surpassed the Cambridge methodology. Why haven't you published in Web of Science or Scopus journals? I understood the answer. I tried to deposit my research result in the Russian Institute of Scientific and Technical Information and publish in journals recommended by the Higher Attestation Commission. Well, some Scopus publications are count, some don't count. I think that I didn't want this technology, this advanced technology, to be known to other countries in advance of Russian countries, of the Russian Federation. So what's your hash index? Well, I've never taken account. Well, Hirsch index is 3. Well, all your major works are published in Dagestan Technical University. Why did you limit yourself to this journal? Well, we have so many journals. Why Dagestan? 3 publications are, 3 major publications are there. I understand your question. I have 14 publications in recommended Higher Attestation Commission approved journals, and my first publications are in Moscow journals, and the last 3 I decided to publish in Ulyanovsk and Makhachkala, Dagestan. So Dagestan would be offended if you didn't publish there. I didn't publish only my technical findings, but also economic findings, and yeah. I have no more questions. Thank you. So I'd like to make a comment. It reminds me of Rocklin, Vladimir Abramovich, who said that he made a publication in the Academy of Sciences, and the Americans, took up these ideas and introduced them, and so he didn't. He couldn't catch up with them and develop his ideas ahead of them. So this is the priority was given to the national needs. Well, this is quite convincing. Vladimir Abramovich was a very colorful figure, and then my personal academic, the head of the Russian Academy of Sciences thinks the same way. First, we have to register the technology and then disseminate this technology around the world. I agree with you. Well, you have 250 publications in what journals? On my own educational portal. They are published in chronological order. That's logical. I have another acquaintance from the Engineer Academy, a friend of Kantorovich. He published also in local journals up to a point, although he had the possibility of publishing in prestigious journals. So this is quite reasonable approach. Yeah. Do you have any other questions? If there are no questions, I have a question. Do you have any formalized statements like theorems, and do you in your work? Your question is clear. The work is for a candidate of technical sciences. I didn't do a deep formalization of the research. Well, theorems are not offered yet. We have to think it over, balance it out, and I need more time. Do you think that some statements can be formulated as theorems? I'm thinking about it. I'm not ready to answer this question today. What are the main difficulties that you faced when you wrote your work? The technology of cognitive modeling was developed by me in parallel, cognitive models, and then in parallel software for synthesizing linguistic and psychological parameters of subjects, and to develop the main diagnostic. So the main difficulty. Well, this is science. Science consumedness. So something that you had difficult to overcome, but you conquered it. First of all, again, I had to develop a software complex, because this aggregates all the problems, all the issues in my research, and this could be achieved by my formalized programming language, mathematical. The C++ is used. You have to think as a programmer. You said that you used modern classical results of control process. In modeling, the method of gradient let out output. This is the theory of optimization. Adaptive management is part of the theory of management or control. Well, this is the theory of optimization. Well, if you make it part of the automated control theory, that's fine. So, what's the novelty of the novelty in the presentation of cognitive models? Well, I looked at zero-level representation models and modern models. one cognitive sphere, two cognitive sphere, three cognitive. They allow modeling cognitive elements with one core, three cores, up to 10 cores, to an undecanium, including the modern cognitive models can allow model phenomena in plasma physics. And some what is producing productive model is the this reflects the logic of computational system. What language is the basis of the software of distance learning systems? That's born plus. Yes, I already answered this question. Thank you. So another question. What are the main factors that influence the effectiveness of learning? Psychological, physiological, and linguistic. Would you single out some concretely? The main importance is the main factors are physiological factors. So this is intake of information. The second is psychological factors that determine the specificity of processing of information by the brain. If physiology doesn't work, then psychology and linguistics that don't work. If psychology it doesn't work, then linguistic factors don't work. If the subject doesn't speak the language of information, then they will not understand the information. The main parameters of the cognitive model. What are the main parameters of the cognitive model? I would, as far as my research interest, is the processing of information of dichromates. These are people who don't see the red light or any other lights, purple and green. So it's interesting. It would be an interesting thing to develop the schemes of color compensation, perception. This is potential for the programming software. You talk about the cycles and technology of the cognitive model. Why is it iterative? Because it refers to the previous errors, and we can go back to them and correct them. Maybe another question, which was asked before. Can you formalize the algorithm of cognitive model structuring by mathematical means? If we use a logical model, we can formalize, yes. But you haven't reached it. I checked it in my research. This is a trivial model. This problem. it seemed to me a trivial problem. You say that the results of the theory of information were used. Which ones? I am the founder of cognitive informatics for system financial analysis. And this the mathematical theory of information has a list of results. I mean logic. Cognitive informatics. You say you use the theory of information as a well-developed field in mathematics. Claude Shannon has good results. I used communicative duplex channel theory to identify the source or coder and decoder of information to identify the deficit and profit subjects. Well, here I am not satisfied with your answer. There's a list of results. Okay. Was the effectiveness of the ruble and cognitive modeling? Well, this is financial analysis question. I have some results, some parameters in the financial sphere. The liquidity of operations with precious metals, with precious stones. I'm talking about the effectiveness of the ruble in the financial analysis. Can you measure it? I haven't done any deep study of the ruble as a currency. Montres would answer this question in better detail. Well, you say in your dissertation that there's an effect of financial analysis of highly integrated organizations at the international level. You can read my monograph that includes 10 volumes. I will look at it. Well, it's a difficult question to answer. I understand. So, any questions? Я хотел бы задать вопрос. Пожалуйста, мы переходим. Можно задать вопрос? У меня несколько общих вопросов. Да, пожалуйста. И два частных вопроса. Пожалуйста. Можно мне начать с общего вопроса? Пожалуйста, объясните, какие главные преимущества вашей системы, если сравнивать ее с другими сходными системами, которые были развиты в других странах всего мира. I understood your question. Thank you very much. As I said in my presentation at the very beginning, the key advantage of this system, of my system, is the presence of cognitive model of the subject of learning and the cognitive model of the means of learning. This then leads to the full adaptation of the learning environment. Следующий вопрос. Сколько учреждений в Российской Федерации, за исключением Санкт-Петербургского университета и за рубежом, используют вашу систему сегодня? This time, the research was conducted in the International Banking Institute and the St. Petersburg Electrotechnical University. No more research in other institutions has been done. Следующий вопрос. Когнитивные модели и адаптивность. Это свойства, которые используются в искусственном интеллекте. Какие еще там свойства и особенности используются интеллектуально? Из искусственного интеллекта используется в вашей системе? The parametrical cognitive models are the information basis for the intellectual filling of the programming software. The electronic textbook is produced based on the electronic cognitive intellectual system. So the whole intellectual content is included in the electronic textbook. Хорошо. И частные вопросы. Какие свойства структуры параметрической когнитивной модели субъекта и обучения? Your question is clear. In order to answer your question, I will go to slide D3.1. The parametrical cognitive model of the subject of learning has a repertoire of parameters that are transposed on the portrait of the subject, psychological, physiological, linguistic, and characterized by the personality traits of the subject. И тот же вопрос по отношению к средствам обучения. Yes, I understood your question. To answer this question, I will show the means of training cognitive model 3.2. The cognitive model has also a repertoire of parameters structured in three portraits that relate to applied linguistics, psychology, and physiological. And that has to do with the generation and the perception of and the formation of knowledge in the subject of learning. My answer is complete. Больше вопросов нет. Спасибо. Спасибо. Do you have any other questions? Then we continue. The next item on the agenda. presentations by members of the Dissertation Committee with the assessment of the dissertation and the presentation. Any external reviews? No external reviews have been submitted, so well, we discussed it. Well, after each member of the Dissertation Council, I would like to answer. No external reviews, and no external reviews have been submitted. Well, then the chairman also will. Can we discuss all the reviews have been published on the website? I suggest that you only point out the key items in your reviews. Do you have any objections? Is that okay? Yeah, I agree. Well, I think that all the questions have already been voiced anyway. So some key issues from the reviews are read. Okay, Vetrov Anatoly, please. I'm ready. I will skip the commending parts or the main issues I have with this dissertation include, unfortunately, I don't have a positive impression of the analytical. The analytical survey doesn't it doesn't look complete. Is dispersed over a period and is outdated. The literature includes only 35 sources, and the cover 1999 to 2006. Although we know some modern, contemporary works, some recent works. In 2008, Kotova, the adaptation system of learning systems based on cognitive properties of learners and so on. And 2010, another work, 2014, Vlasenko's dissertation. In 2017, Burnashov's work. In 2019, Varianska adaptive adaptive structuring of distance learning and information systems. So these are all works that tackle adaptive models. This contact. Well, I think that the work is outdated, and the author doesn't show any comparison with the existing more recent works. But also another thing, I was struck, well, to put it mildly, in my review, I put it in more mild terms. Well, the violation of the ways of presenting representational material. The text is in awful state. The different types of fonts. The script has different spacings that make the text very difficult to read, and then everything is done to prevent from the reviewer from using the anti-plagiarism software, and on aggregate, in light of all this, I would like to say that I don't endorse the resolution to grant the third degree. Your critical remarks are clear. The analytical review of the authors is maximally complete. You look at section 1 and section 2, the analysis of information technologies, the theoretical basis. The listed authors are not recognized figures by the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences and other academies. My dissertation is presented in the form of a scientific monograph that was published in 2005. So 2005, I completed it and published it, and I deposited it in 2007. My scientific works, 265, have been acknowledged by the Presidium of the Academy of Natural Sciences, and I was the founder of a new academic field, and you can look at the copy of the letter of the Presidium of the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences that attest this award. Well, I'm included in the encyclopedia of the Russian scientists published by the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences. In 2018, it was signed by Anatoly, the academic secretary of the academy. As far as the second question, my intellectual property rights are protected by the Russian Academy of Sciences information depositing soft system, and I would like to emphasize that when you publish a dissertation in the form of a monograph, we don't apply the standards of dissertation formatting and writing up are not applied. I used all the regulations that are applicable in this case, and I actually provided some regulations of creating a technical text, for example, published by Nauka Interperiodics, and also the text is written is written only with Times New Roman. And if you look at the back, there's their publication date there, and the font is there as Times Roman was the only font used, and Duke Vetrov and Anatoly didn't even mention the numbers of pages. Are you satisfied with the no? I'm not satisfied. It's all baloney and complete. My research was displayed in expos, international expos. Well, the academic community doesn't make these critical remarks, and you do. My answer is I don't want to justify my dissatisfaction. Well, my review is there. Well, so you cannot justify. Well, let's just continue our discussion. The next review is by Venir Makarov, professor. Well, my review has been published. I'll be short. I think that the work of Vetrov about the cognitive models is relevant. The work was written quite a long time ago, but well, at that time distance learning was not so well studied, and now we could do away with. I guess we could live without it, but right now it's not possible. Distance learning is part of our life, and this is very relevant. The practical work, the practical application is there. The models was used not only in Russia but in abroad. My questions have to do with my questions have had to do with the publications, and I received answers for my questions. Well, I think that the work is independent, and for doctoral dissertation, the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences is not a state academy, but I will still endorse the awarding of the degree. Thank you very much. Next review, Barsigan, Venir Rafaelovich, professor. And the review is published on the website. I will be short. The topic is the environment of automated learning with the adaptation properties using cognitive models. I think this is very relevant. Well, there are facts that the researcher is interested in, or researchers are interested in this field, and they develop this field. I think the candidate has achieved results that are both theoretical and practical importance. I think that they are valid and verified. And this is undoubted. I think that the dissertation in the form of a scientific monograph conforms to the main requirements that are applicable to a candidate of science dissertations, and the author, Vetrov Anatoly Nikolaevich, deserves being awarded the candidate of science degree in technical science. Thank you very much. Professor Agulskis, please.
Yes, my report is published. I just would like to add some general ideas about this work. Do you hear me?
Yes, of
Hello?
course.
Okay. So just very general terms. First of all, I would like to thank St. Petersburg State University for inviting me to take part in this dissertation defense committee as a foreign member. And St. Petersburg State University is really one of the oldest and prestigious universities, not only in Russia, but also around the world. And therefore, holding a scientific degree of such a university must be a great honor and obligation. So I had a few doubts when I first read the monograph and the dissertation by Mr. Vetrov. My first doubts were related to the date of the publication, that the monograph was published more than a decade ago. And during this time, many things have happened. And one of the reviewers have mentioned that many different techniques and many different approaches for distant teaching and distant learning have been developed during the years. The first question from my side was why the dissertation was not defended in 2006, 2007. If this dissertation had been presented for a defense at that time, I don't think we would have many of those questions and many of those problems we have been discussing today. The other problem I see is that the Hertz index is low, and many of the papers published on the theme of this dissertation are not in Scopus, are not in the Web of Science. That was a little bit astonishing because, general requirements for PhD degree students in many countries around the world as a necessary prerequisite is at least 2 papers in the Web of Science. Now it's 0. But then when reading the dissertation, when reading the book, I understood that this work is oriented for local purposes, meaning that all the work what has been done is focused on national needs. And I gave the question where the results of this system have been implemented, and the answer was St. Petersburg University, Lety University, nothing else. So meaning that all the work is really focused on local needs. And Mr. Vetrov was answering the question of the other reviewer that why he decided to go this way, why all the publications were done in local journals. Well, I think the answers are reasonable, and keeping in mind that the number of publications is large, and also Mr. Vetrov did manage to publish a monograph, a full collection of and representation of his works. Finally, I think that he does deserve the degree of the candidate of sciences. Again, there are many questions about international feature and international impact of the future research of Mr. Vetrov, and my strongest wish for Mr. Vetrov, if he will continue his studies and his research in this direction, is finally to be brave and to submit to international journals. Oh, sorry. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry. Somebody was calling, and I'm sorry for the interference. So my really a wish and strong suggestion is to continue your research and to continue your publications in high impact international journals, because without that, I do not imagine how you could continue your career as a researcher, as an international researcher. But for the time being, my verdict is positive.
Спасибо. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Then my review, my assessment. I would like to say that some works must be included in the database of scope. Highest adaptation journals must be. There's no. Well, you don't exist in Web of Science or Scopus. Who said that? Well, if you go. Well, I just wanted to meet the higher attestation committee requirements, and so well, it's just your mistake. You have to publish in journals that belong to this database. In most universities, the qualification requirement is having publications. Well, all Scopus publications may not be part of the approved list of publications. Well, the Scopus publications, civil journals are all part of the approved list of the Ministry of Education. Well, you should have published, but you will improve in the future. I will eliminate this drawback in the future. So, you will take account of the recommendation of Professor Ragulskis. Have you looked at the database of Scopus? Yes, I have. Well, do you have access to this database? Yes, I was given this access by the university, St. Petersburg University. Well, Leti does have an access. Well, some universities don't have access to the database. Well, because it's quite expensive, so subscription. But well, I've asked my questions. I received answers for my questions, more or less acceptable. And therefore, I would like to make the conclusion that the dissertation of Vetrov, Anatoly Nikolaevich, meets the general requirements of published part of the regulations of St. Petersburg University on awarding academic degrees, and therefore the candidate Vetrov Anatoly Nikolaevich deserves being awarded a candidate of sciences degree in the third degree field. Plagiarism clause is not violated. Then there's a question for me now. Any questions by electronic? No questions to the email have been submitted, and therefore I will continue the agenda, the order of work. We have open floor, no takers, no questions. Therefore, next, then there's the academic advisor, Alexander Nikolaevich. You have the floor. Thank you very much. Please speak into the microphone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Very good. Thank you. The relevance of the dissertation is based on the needs of automated learning systems. Vetrov, Anatoly Nikolaevich provides some practical and theoretical findings. Well, the structure of distance learning, cognitive systems, the principles of and algorithms of functioning of different systems, of different learning systems, the technologies and techniques of cognitive modeling, including the methods of their use. The fourth, the structure of the cognitive models of learning means. And then the software package for automating different tasks, and including the adaptive electronic textbook, and the main and the adaptive diagnostic modules. The dissertation has new results that allow providing a systemic analysis of the learning environment. 25 papers have been published on the topic of the dissertation, 14 of them in the approved list by the Ministry of Education and Science. Vetrov is a professional, highly qualified teacher and researcher. In light of this, I would like to conclude that the dissertation meets all the requirements that are applied to the candidate of sciences degree dissertations at St. Petersburg University, and the author of the dissertation deserves the sword degree. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. The next item is, do you have any questions on behalf of the dissertation committee members in terms of the procedure and the technical part of the session? I think the presentation was well. The presentation should have been put on a screen, because we can only see the whole and the presentation. Well, the presentation was sent to you by email. You could look at it, and on the website of I received it by email and followed it on my computer. Well, this is objective. And then we have the right to declare a break, to deliberate before we vote. Do we need to do that? Do you want to do that? In terms of procedural. Members of the Dissertation Council, what do you think?
Можем переходить к голосованию тогда, да?
We can continue. We can continue the session. Then the decisive moment has come. Can you see and hear us? A positive answer? Yes. Therefore, I put to the vote the issue of awarding Anatoly Nikolaevich Vetrov an academic degree of kind of technical sciences, the degree field of 51301. This is system analysis, control, and processing of information. So just to remind you that not fewer than 3 members of the Dissertation Committee should vote for the resolution to award. Vetrov Anatoly, what's your opinion? I already, yes, I vote. Vinir Gennadievich Makarov, what is your opinion? I also voice my opinion. I'm for the awarding. Vanya Rafaelovich Barsegan, I am in favor of awarding the degree. Medvedevskaya Sergus, is your opinion?
Is positive. Yes.
Positive.
I am Malafeev Oleg Alexeyevich, also consider Anatoly Nikolaevich worthy of the degree. And the counting of the votes, I declare that out of 5 members of the committee, 4 members of the committee have voted for the decision, 1 against the decision, and no abstention. And then therefore, the decision to award the academic degree of kind of technical sciences to Anatoly Nikolaevich Vetrov is taken. Well, dear colleagues, since we have online participation, do any of us present have any objections or questions as to the procedure? Do you have any questions, or Professor Duke? Just the presentation. Well, usually Zoom provides presentation on the full screen. I think we should do that. Everything else is fine. Your opinion will be relayed to the technical services. Vinir Gennadievich, everything is fine. Vanya Rafaelovich, no objections, only the presentation. I would like to side with Vetrov Anatoly. And then the applicant has the conclusion remarks. Thank you very much. I'll be short. The Russian and international members of the Dissertation Committee of St. Petersburg and my research advisor, the interpreter, the technical services people, and my mother, my father, my assistant and friend. I thank you all. Thank you very much for your participation. And which took place in the Physics Research Physics Institute, and which is in St. Petersburg. I am very happy to be here. I would like to thank all those who were online with us. I'm very happy to see that we have two representatives of two international academies of sciences. This is for me an honor, and also honor for St. Petersburg University. I hope that you will continue participating in sessions of this dissertation committee. Well, in other dissertation committees, yes, and other dissertation committees, because this dissertation committee was set up especially for the defense. Highly skilled, high expertise, nice people to talk to. Would like to congratulate the applicants on the achievement. Thank you very much. The session is therefore officially closed. Please switch off the broadcast. And thank you very much.